Hey guys, another video for our Wheels in Japan playlist and our mini-series on crazy drivers in Japan. We did a whole video on this phenomenon once. These guys riding along on their scooters with their legs just hanging off either side like that. But this guy is such a classic example, and to be honest, we actually thought he might crash because he came really close a few times, sort of wobbling and shaking and really looked like he was going to fall off. Apologies too for the lack of quality to the camera work. The unskilled assistant camera operator was doing this because the usual unskilled camera operator was driving the car. So for safety, always the passengers take the video that you see taken from the car rather than the driver. So it's just cringy, isn't it, watching him do this? Because, you know, if he hits a rock or something slippery, it's going to be really hard to regain your balance with your legs hanging off either side like that, isn't it? It's not the best way to keep your balance on a bike, is it? Or a scooter. Anyway, hope he made it home okay. This guy was a worry. This guy's on the phone, and that yellow line, you're not supposed to touch that yellow line. You're supposed to not cross, no overtaking. That's what that means, stay in your lane, because it's a fairly narrow road and it's two-way and it's pretty fast. So for safety, you're not allowed to go anywhere near that yellow line. But this guy was scaring the heck out of us. He'd drift across, and there'd be cars coming the other way and trucks. And he's so busy staring at his phone, he just drift right across. Before we got the camera out, he actually drifted right across, like a meter across on the other side. And I was like, oh, geez, get the camera out. Look at this guy. And backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. Really cringy. He's like, oh, come on. Staring at his phone. We see it, we show you a lot of it, right? But we see like 100 times more than what we show you. You know, people coming the other way towards us there with their heads down, looking down into their lap at their phone. And that's scary. A car coming towards you with the driver staring down, and they glance up now and again. You guys would have seen it in your own countries probably. But people driving along, looking down, and they glance up now and again just to see how they're going. You know, it's like, oh, geez, come on. That's what this guy was obviously doing, like drifting backwards and forwards, and he'd be glancing up now and again to see how he was doing. Just terrible, isn't it? Anyway, hope he made it home okay. What was this? Oh, yeah, Tour de France. So 20 kilometres an hour we're doing on this really fast open piece of road through the rice fields. Because Mr. Tour de France, instead of going on that nice wide path there beside the road, he's decided to ride on the road, and there's nowhere to go, so people had to sort of wait to get past him. So, oh yeah, car driving on the footpath, coming out onto the crosswalk. And we see that all the time. It's really common. We showed you that before. That's really, really common. Driving on the footpath and driving out onto crosswalks, really, really common. Don't know why. It's just what they do. This is also very common. We have no sense of humour about this at all. Some irresponsible parent allowing their child to stand on their seat with their face against the back window. How dangerous is that? Old mate here, sitting at the traffic lights with his phone. How conspicuous is it? How easy must it be for the occasional copper to actually write a ticket for that? No, totally oblivious to us filming him until he put his phone down and then looked across and went, oh, there's a camera staring at me. And the light's been green for a few seconds already. And old mate here at night, there's a bit of a trend at the moment. They have these little mounting brackets that they use to mount their phones up on the dashboard, which, if they're not touching it, would be okay, because in Japan there's no law against that. But the law is actually against operating the phone while you're driving, while you're in charge of the vehicle. And that's what they do. They mount the phone up there like that's a good thing to do. But what that means is they're just staring at it more while they're driving, and then they operate the phone while they're driving, like this guy is. Bit hard to see there at night, isn't it? But that's what he's doing, driving along, scrolling through the internet. Oh, yeah. So it's still a red light, that's why we're not moving, but that guy's taken off. Still a red light, jumped the light basically on his little scooter. That's a common thing. Everyone likes to do that. So anyway, that's this week's crazy drivers from Japan. More of those coming soon for sure. More videos coming soon.